I think tower defense games are an underrated genre. Mostly gaining traction around 2007 with hits like Plants vs. Zombies and Bloons Tower Defense, the genre has since seen very little success, as it lacks a sense of real replayability other than to do XYZ every time as you play. A solo developer is looking to challenge this notion by giving the player the ability to create their levels from relative scratch. How does it play? And should you keep your eye on it? Let's take a look at the upcoming game Emberward to find out. Developed by ReficGames, Emberward is a roguelite tower defense game where you use Tetris-like pieces in order to construct the actual maze for your enemies to go through. As a guardian tasked with protecting the fire essence, it's up to you to ensure that you utilize the vast array of towers and tile pieces to build the winding gauntlet that will hopefully stop any monster you encounter, whether it be a bee or a literal Hydra monster. Each node on the map you traverse will give you an encounter, a shop to buy more relics, pieces to use for defense or towers, or you may even get lucky enough to get a challenge to accomplish during your next encounter, unlocking a variety of upgrades if you can do so successfully. You're even given a specific currency to purchase permanent upgrades for your future runs, making towers hit harder or even giving your fire essence a chance to defend itself. There's a lot that Emberward does well. Each level is a fun puzzle to decipher how best to approach it. I never really felt like any piece I was given was inherently good or bad, and the adaptability of how to place each piece was relatively easy to comprehend. The towers were, for the most part, enjoyable to use, with the lone exception being the poison towers. I felt like I could never really get a good run when I tried to use it as my main damage source. I believe this comes from the fact that it takes just a little too long to kill something, so even if you constantly dump poison on your enemies, you have to either have a good long maze for it to take its toll, or several ways of slowing or stopping enemies in their tracks to make it a viable strategy. The poison turrets really only stood out to me as negative because every other turret was really fun to use. The dice-based turrets were especially fun with their push-your-luck style of gameplay, although the D6 turret could get a little overpowered with how cheap it is to purchase. I found that the relics I had only marginally changed the outcome of the playstyle that I had, but the time restrictions between waves gave me a sense of urgency that I felt like the game needed, and the roguelite abilities you unlock can really give you the upper hand, with the ability for the fire to defend itself being my absolute favorite upgrade to have. Although you can hover over a node on the map you traverse and see what paths lead to it, I found that it was a little hard to read when compared to other games that use a similar system. The enemy diversity was a nice touch, whether that be the giant werewolf creature that stuns your turrets, the snake-like enemy that buffs other enemies, or even the spider that makes more spiders. There's a lot to keep your eye on during the waves. The spider was especially nasty, as if you got to your fire intact, then you were likely to lose 6 lives, which would probably end a run for you. The boss fight in the game was one of Emberward's highest points. It added a layer of depth to the strategy, as turrets placed on the tracks not only attacked the wave but did damage to the boss, making it easier to take out when it decided to unleash its wrath. Overall, I think Emberward is sitting at a good spot to be enjoyable for anyone who likes tower defense or roguelike games. I would like to be able to see more of what it has to offer before giving it the Prozyon seal of approval, but I think it did enough to warrant me keeping my eye on it when it releases in Q2 of 2024. With more towers, blocks, relics, levels, monsters, and boss fights coming with the release, I think there's a lot to look forward to when it releases, but that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another. Shout out to ReficGames for giving me some access to some assets for the video. Also, thank you to my Patreon supporters Relativity and Naughty Dog as King, as well as the massive influx of new subscribers to the channel. Keep an eye out for a video I'll be releasing to celebrate hitting 100 subs, but with that, I'll see you guys soon.